एड टॉक विद अमिताभ। और जैसा कि हमने आपसे वायदा किया है कि हम हर बार एक ऐसी शख्सियत से आपको रूबरू कराएंगे जिसने समाज पे, एजुकेशन पे एक अपनी एक अलग अमिट छाप छोड़ी है। और इस समय के माहौल को अगर हम देखें तो इस समय इन द लॉकडाउन डेज everything is going online, so much so that education also has gone online. हम सभी लोग, we are all promoted to our level of incompetency, we are graduated to our level of incompetency. हम लोग रेगुलर क्लासरूम टीचिंग के आदी रहे हैं और एकाएक टीचर्स को, पेरेंट्स को, बच्चों को, सबको अडैप्ट करना पड़ रहा है विद ऑनलाइन मेथड ऑफ टीचिंग। बहुत सारी डिबेट चल रही है, इज दिस गोइंग टू बी न्यू नॉर्मल। बहुत सारी डिबेट चल रही है, इज इंडिया रेडी फॉर ऑनलाइन मेथड ऑफ एजुकेशन। जो अभी तक फीडबैक्स आ रहे हैं स्कूलों से, काफी पॉजिटिव रिस्पॉन्स है। लोग ऑनलाइन मेथड को धीरे धीरे अडैप्ट कर रहे हैं, बच्चे अडैप्ट कर रहे हैं, पेरेंट्स अडैप्ट कर रहे हैं। लेकिन कहीं ना कहीं मन में एक ये एलिमेंट हमेशा रह रहा है कि जो हम कर रहे हैं वो ठीक है कि नहीं है, क्योंकि ऑनलाइन एजुकेशन was not the common mode of education before the lockdown, which has become the order of the day. In fact, from the need of the moment, online education is graduating to becoming order of the day. And चूंकि ये एक बहुत मेजर इशू हम सबके सामने एजुकेशन सेक्टर में, पेरेंट्स के लिए, टीचर्स के लिए सामने आ रहा है, we have requested Dr. Nisha Singh, Deputy Director of Online, Center for Online Education, Indira Gandhi National Open University, which is also responsible for world's largest educational portal, Swayam and Swayam Prabha. She is a veteran in the game. She is in charge of the R&D cell for IGNOU for online education. बहुत सारे हमारे सवाल तो इस समय हमारे आपके जहन में है ऑनलाइन एजुकेशन को लेकर के। आज शायद इस एपिसोड के माध्यम से हमें कुछ सवालों के जवाब डॉक्टर निशा सिंह जी से मिल सके। तो आइए हम लोग जानने की और कोशिश करते हैं फ्रॉम द लाइफ एंड टाइम्स ऑफ डॉक्टर निशा सिंह एंड हर एक्सपर्टीज एंड एक्सपीरियंस ऑफ ऑनलाइन एजुकेशन। फ्रेंड्स, निशा सिंह जी हमारे साथ इस समय हमारे ऑनलाइन द स्कूल टाइम स्टूडियो में मौजूद है, स्ट्रेट फ्रॉम दिल्ली, इनवाइटिंग हर टू शेयर द स्क्रीन टू बी विद ऑल ऑफ यू। So, welcome to our show, Nisha ji. Welcome to Ed Talk with Amitabh.
Thank you so much for inviting me. Thank you so much.
निशा जी, जैसा कि हमने वायदा किया है अपने सारे व्यूअर्स से कि इस लॉकडाउन में, हालांकि लॉकडाउन एक्सटेंड होता जा रहा है, हम कोशिश करेंगे हम अपनी इस जर्नी लॉकडाउन कमिटमेंट को भी पूरा करते रहे जब तक लॉकडाउन रहे, कि हम ऐसी एक शख्सियत को लेके आएंगे जिसका समाज पे इम्पैक्ट है और सोशल इन्फ्लुएंस है। और आपका जो एक जर्नी रही है, आपने प्रोफेशनल जर्नी शुरू करी उत्तर प्रदेश में वाराणसी से एज अ टीचर, एंड देन यू ग्रेजुएटेड टू वेरियस ऑनलाइन processes. You've been part of this journey for a pretty long time. आपका ऑनलाइन एजुकेशन से ज्यादातर आपका जुड़ाव रहा है करियर एक्सपीरियंस में। So before we go on to it, because I'm sure a lot of people would like to know it, because there are a lot of viewers, our parents and teachers in our show, which are going to come up and going to benefit from our interaction. I would like to, before everyone, Delhi and Bombay are considered to be at the moment, maximum number of cases are coming. You are settled out of Delhi. I hope everything is fine. And how is you and you members in your family are coping up with the current situation and keeping yourself positive?
अमिताभ जी, फॉर्चुनेटली हम लोग घर पे हैं और सब लोग सुरक्षित हैं. थैंक यू फॉर आस्किंग एंड आई होप द सेम फॉर यू एंड अदर पीपल हु आर वाचिंग एंड फॉर इनफैक्ट आई वांट इट फॉर एवरीवन इन द कंट्री, इन द वर्ल्ड, बिकॉज इट्स रियली डिस्टर्बिंग दैट so many people are affected by COVID-19 and governments across, scientists across the globe, they are working to curtail this kind of COVID-19 spread. Being from education and my love with education, my love with books, my love with reading and exploring online has really helped me to cope with COVID-19. I keep myself busy sharing what I know with others. And the other way I keep myself busy is through learning new things. New things like working on new softwares, working on how to make new things, and just exploring new things. So that keeps me busy. That keeps my mind off the kind of depressing news which comes over the television. So that is how I maintain my mental health, and that is what I also would like to suggest for everyone, that please be aware of what's happening in the world, but keep learning. Learning takes your mind away from something which is a problem, and learning also gives you a way of solving the problem. So learning is something which is, as I'm also working in an open university, it is a place for lifelong learning, and learning should never stop. It should be from the moment you are born to the moment you are in the grave, or you till then learning should be continuous.
That's beautifully said. I think निशा जी का इस समय लॉकडाउन में पॉजिटिव रहने का तरीका है कीप लर्निंग. और आई थिंक व्हाट अ ब्यूटीफुल मैसेज शी हैज शेयर्ड दैट she is trying to learn new things, new technology, new methods, new ways. And I think अगर हम सब लोग, जैसा कि निशा जी ने कहा, अपने आप को किसी नई स्किल, किसी नई चीज, किसी नए अनुभव को सीखने में अगर अपने दिमाग को लगा देंगे, that is going to keep our mind positive and going to give strength to cope up with the given times. Beautifully said, Nisha ji. Nisha ji, this learning also brings me this motto. I think आपकी life in जो जर्नी रही है उसमें भी आई थिंक यू हैव ऑलवेज बीन अ लर्नर. और जहाँ तक मैंने स्टडी किया आपके बैकग्राउंड को, आप यू आर नॉट अ टेक्निकल, यू आर नॉट एन इंजीनियर, यू आर नॉट अ सॉफ्टवेयर ट्रेन्ड पर्सन, and you are right now, and for so many years you've been in journey where लोगों को लगता है कि ऑनलाइन के लिए कुछ टेक्निकल होना जरूरी है, कोई ऐसी क्वालिफिकेशन होना चाहिए, लेकिन आपने पूरा अपने लाइफ एंड टाइम्स प्रोफेशनल जर्नी में ऑनलाइन एजुकेशन पे काफी काम किया है, उससे लगातार आप जुड़े रहे. सो आई वुड लाइक टू नो अबाउट योर जर्नी ऑफ लाइफ सो दैट आवर ऑडियंस कैन गेट इंस्पायर्ड कि अगर आप इंजीनियर नहीं भी हो, आप एमसीए नहीं भी हो, तो भी ऐसा कोई रॉकेट साइंस नहीं है. इट रिक्वायर्स लॉट ऑफ कॉमन सेंस टू गेट इनटू इट एंड योर डिजायर टू लर्न. तो थोड़ा सा हम आपकी जर्नी के बारे में जानना चाहेंगे बिफोर वी कम टू सम कोर इश्यूज ऑफ ऑनलाइन लर्निंग.
थैंक यू अमिताभ जी. जैसे मैं आपसे उस दिन भी कह रही थी कि मेरी लाइफ की जर्नी कोई शाहरुख खान या अमिताभ बच्चन जी की जर्नी नहीं है जो सब लोग इंटरेस्टेड होंगे, बट येस, इट्स अ जर्नी विच इज माई ओन. So I can own that journey, and I have my family and friends to thank for being successful in the journey. I had my failures, I had my successes. Since I was my father retired from Delhi University as a professor, so I had this, and my mother was a homemaker. So that I had that kind of an influence from home, that education, books everywhere. So it was not like, and my father used to be very liberal whenever I used to ask for a book. He was not liberal when I was used to ask for a dress or any other toy. But with the books, he was so liberal that, I really appreciate it now. If I look back, I am fortunate to have that kind of a upbringing.
Okay.
So I was basically a science student, and then after doing my MSc, that was the time when girls were not allowed to go out so frequently, and then you used to look for occasions to meet your friends. So all my friends were filling the form of Central Institute of Education, Delhi University. So I also filled. I was not very much interested, but it was like we'll go to give the exam, and then we'll go to Kamla Nagar and have party. Right. So we gave the exam, and somehow I cleared the exam and the interview, the entrance test and the interview. And once I cleared, I had this, I was happy to, of course, clear, but at the same time, I didn't want to do it. So that was the time when my mother, who had a talk with all her friends, she said that, okay, just give 1 year of your life to me, do B.Ed for me. Because that time B.Ed was supposed to be very good for girls, like very... very promising degree for girls, because girls can get married to any place in the world and become a teacher.
It was quite a marriage compatible degree. That's what the social perception at that time.
Yes, and then B.Ed was something. See, doing B.Ed from CIE was considered to be very prestigious at particular point of time. Now there are other good institutes also, but then that it has got its own like brand value. So I did it, and in the meantime, so the first say for 6 months, I was okay with it, not liking it, not disliking it. But after that, suddenly I started realizing that during our B.Ed years, the teachers were very friendly. Like we were individuals, whereas when we were doing our MSc, every teacher was very nice, but that individual, because the focus was mostly on the cognitive aspect, like learning, and I was a zoology student and a specialization in entomology, so every teacher used to focus on the cognitive aspect. Everything like related to zoology, you should know it. The teachers were very good, so no question out there, because Delhi University zoology department is also very good. So but then this aspect of life I never experienced.
Right.
So being called by name, being asked, how are you feeling? And sharing a cup of tea inside the classroom where 80 students are there and a teacher is there, it was like something which was, I still relish.
Okay.
So suddenly after the end of the B.Ed, I started liking my B.Ed generally, applied for M.Ed, did my M.Ed. And after that, got my first job. Did my MPhil from Jamia Millia Islamia, and then I got my first job in Varanasi. So that was a little different experience because I had never been away from home.
Right.
So, but that was a journey I started independent. So being away from home, in fact, was something journey on the professional level also and at a personal level also. So from there, I taught in 3 years. That was the only college of Krishnamurti Foundation of India, Vasanta College for Women. From there, I came to Rohilkhand University, Bareilly. There I was from 96 to 2000. There also I got a lot of exposure to learning and technology and video production and everything. And in 2009, I came to IGNOU because my aim was to come back home, which was Delhi.
Right.
So in 2009, I joined a project of IGNOU, which is the DEP SSA, that is Distance Education Program of Sarv Shiksha Abhiyan.
Okay.
When there was a project, a sub-project which started was a wiki on Wiki. So like we were using Wiki as a platform for collaborative development of teaching and learning resources by the teachers in themselves. So what we were doing is we were having these small workshops where we were enabling the teachers to learn Wiki. At the same time, using the locally available resources and their creativity, develop teaching resources, share with the whole world through the Wiki platform.
Right. Wiki as in Wikipedia.
Wikipedia. This is based on a software called MediaWiki. MediaWiki. Sorry, MediaWiki. So Wikipedia is also developed on that only. So this was again a portal, we used to call this a DPSSA Wiki. So then we had it, and that sort of really encouraged me, and I learned so much. In fact, the team I was to work with was a team of young boys and girls, and I used to be so full of questions. And they used to, enjoy answering my questions. Sometimes I remember Sukant was there, Rajit was there. Sukant used to say, "Madam, आप इतने questions लेके कहाँ से आती हैं?" That is because I am interested in learning. So I'm really thankful to them for helping me this. And then at that time, Dr. Sanjay Mishra, he launched a program of PGDEL, Postgraduate Diploma in E-Learning in IGNOU. So I was in there.
That was in which year you did that diploma?
2010.
All right. Okay.
So on the one hand, I was learning a lot of skills and technology from the Wiki platform on which I was working. Every workshop I used to learn, and I tried to consolidate the self-learned, the knowledge I got from self-learning through this program, Postgraduate Diploma in E-Learning. Right. So in fact, for 1 year, it was a blended learning program, mostly online. But for 1 week, there was a workshop at IGNOU, which obviously I was there at IGNOU. It was easy for me. So that helped me. And in the meantime, I again joined IGNOU as a deputy director in Inter-University Consortium.
Okay.
So then that time we were into training the Open University faculty. So that became that it was again a platform for my self-learning and growing ahead. So I kept on learning and I kept on sharing, and then like it was like a reciprocal relationship I had, like getting something. And then, you know, the best thing I think we can learn is, even if say I'm an expert on any topic, and somebody else is taking a session on that, I don't think that I should not sit in the session because I know I'm already an expert. Why should I sit? No. In every session, there's always a takeaway.
It's very true. In every moment there is a takeaway.
And that is, I think, that is how I have learned a lot. And in the meantime, in 2010 only, I had gone to Malaysia for attending an international conference. There I came to know about this Open Universities Malaysia program, which was, this is Masters in Instructional Design and Technology, which is called MIDT.
Okay.
And COL, Commonwealth of Learning, was offering scholarship for like doing that course. So I applied, I got the scholarship, and for 2 years I did that course. So in 2014, I did my MIDT, and all that helped me. And that is why I'm a great believer of lifelong learning and open education and online learning, because the first question I asked was, will I have to go to Malaysia to give exams? They said no, there was no need. So that encouraged me, and then it was a scholarship, so all the more prestigious. So I did it, and then I think all that helped me. Plus, again, I want to put on records is that it is your everyday work which helps you to refine. It's your everyday. जैसे कहते हैं ना, in Hindi हम कहते हैं करत करत अभ्यास के जड़मति होत सुजान, right? So if you keep on practicing, you'll become an expert. And I still remember my father used to tell me, "Karte raho, please try, keep on doing it." And then he used to give me tips for writing. Say, अगर आपने कुछ लिखा है, आज लिख लिया आपने, उसके बाद उसको रख दो एक तरफ साइड में रख दो थोड़ा टाइम, let your mind, as we say ना, your mind do the churning and all, and then you come back to that piece again and you will make changes. And this is how he writes even till today. And I
think that is the order of the day. And what you said is so beautifully put, that that saying in Hindi that karat karat abhyate nijman hot sujan. Friends, yes, ma'am.
Please continue.
If I am getting the semantic wrong, I think you'll all get the message right. अगर इस समय भी हम सब जो कोशिश कर रहे हैं, compliments to all the educators, all the teachers, given the situation, आप जो कोशिश कर रहे हैं, धीरे धीरे आप ये जो अभ्यास आपका हो रहा है, you are going to perfect this art of online education. और निशा जी, ये जो आपका पूरी जर्नी आपने शेयर करी बहुत ही प्रोलिफिक रही, और इसमें बहुत सारे पड़ाव जहाँ की आपने अपने आप को और इक्विप करते गए, कोर्सेज ज्वाइन करते गए, you kept on training yourself, and today you are one of the important members provide in this segment of online education. Or if I'm not mistaken, the Center for Online Education is also responsible for providing and supervising one of the world's largest educational portal by the government of India is Swayam and Swayamprabha.
IGNOU is a part of Swayam and Swayamprabha. It's a portal by Ministry of MHRD Ministry of Human Resource and Development. Ministry of Human Resource and Development thought of that, like if we remember, 2012 was the year of MOOCs, when the MOOCs were started. In fact, New York Times said that 2012 was a very, and they call MOOC to be disruptive technology.
Right.
And then I was fortunate to do 1 or 2 courses on MOOCs from Coursera at that particular point of time, and that gave me into an insight as to what is MOOC and all. So the government of India, they very rightly, they thought, why shouldn't we have an Indian version of MOOC?
Right.
And then the Swayam started.
Okay.
Right. So Swayam is like Indian version of MOOCs, where they encourage the Indian universities, the good faculty of Indian universities, to come forward and share their material, share their experience as a Swayam course.
Right.
So Swayam has got both kind of course, like the credit course and the non-credit course.
Okay.
So non-credit course are basically for awareness or general lifelong learning, whereas what the UGC is recommending is that you should have these credit courses, and it is asking the universities to recognize that credit.
Okay.
See, they said that 20% of the credit of a particular course, if I'm in BSc or BCom or BA, 20% of the credit I can earn through the Swayam courses.
Okay. Okay.
Right. See, if I have got a course, say in a some specialization in special education,
Right.
and another course of 4 credit only is available on Swayam, so I should have an option to, rather than going it for face to face in my university, I should have an option to take it through the Swayam.
Right.
Right. So those 4 credit will be added to my credit for my degree of BA or BEd.
Okay.
So that was the basic vision of it. Say MHRD was doing Swayam, and there were national coordinators, and IGNOU is one of the national coordinators. The others are like NIOS is there, NCRT is there. Then you have this CEC, and then UGC. They're all the national coordinators. So
Right.
IGNOU is also another national coordinator, and in IGNOU, the Center for Online Education is looking after this Swayam and Swayam Prabha. And Swayam, this was the basically the with the MOOCs for the credit transfer. But the other thing is the university has to come forward where the learner is studying.
Right.
The university has to come forward and accept those credits.
Right.
So that acceptance has to be, since universities are autonomous, that has to be at their executive council's level. Their academic council, their executive council, senate, BOM, there are many terminologies for that. So they have to accept it.
Okay.
Right. So this is a slow going process, but it's a continuous process. More and more universities are coming forward to accept it. And that is also an acceptance of another mode of education.
Absolutely.
Like we have this face-to-face education, like Delhi University, JNU, Jamia, or any other universities. They are face-to-face universities where learners are supposed to come to the class and study. Whereas there's another mode which is distance education. And Open University, Indira Gandhi National Open Universities, and the various state open universities, they are distance education model. That is, the teacher and the taught are at a distance, and the communication, and the teacher is teaching through the written material. So that is why most of the material, if you go through the IGNOU material or from any other open university, it is in a conversational style.
Right.
It will not be bookish. The cell is the basic unit of life. It will not be like that. It will be like, as you know, the basic unit of life is cell. As you know.
Okay.
Or, so like this is like conversational. So we call it conversational style.
Okay.
And we pitch it to the level of the learners. So that is, then it is self-motivating also. In between, there will be exercises, there will be examples, so that learner is able to relate it to their own context.
Right.
So that is the mode of that. So from face to face, you have a distance mode, where the teacher and taught are at the distance.
Right.
And unfortunately, still the distance education has not got its own due. Like people think that it is a poor second cousin of education face to face.
No, this quite rightly pointed out that it hasn't got its due, but I think currently it is getting what has been overdue.
Yes, well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I was saying, that the modern version of like distance education, like not the OGL, but the online education is getting, suddenly everybody is sitting up and saying, oh yes, there's a mode of education which has got a lot of potential. It is like unsung hero.
Right, and it is in the lockdown days, it is coming as a savior of education. So it is the hero which has made an entry just at the right time. The online hero is here in the education sector, rescuing learning, rescuing education, as quite rightly put by you. Dr. Nisha, here you have very beautifully pointed out the way online education, and I think at the moment we were a little more comfortable and aware of online education more in the context of higher education. At a school level, it was even lesser heard of or talked about, and in this lockdown times in a higher education as well as in a very, very big way, in a massive way, online processes, online technology is replacing and becoming an alternative in the given lockdown times. As we are saying that school buildings are in a lockdown, but the teaching is on. And from your experience and expertise, I would like what kind of how can teachers make their teaching more effective in a given time in the current context, and how is what are the ethics variants of the regular classes and the online education, and how at a schooling level it can be adapted?
Very relevant question, Amitabh ji, because we were all caught unawares. So for anything like that, there has to be a slow progress, or some kind of, as we say, acclimatization.
Right.
Even I remember when we went to Leh in say 84, I was quite, I had just finished my schooling. So then also they used to suggest that for one day, because we went by flight, for one day be indoors, because the oxygen level there is very less.
Right.
So the body needs to acclimatize. Right. Same goes for any mode of education or in any activity in life.
Right.
Right. So that is why, and what has happened in COVID-19 times is that we have all been pushed into a swimming pool.
Right.
And we have to struggle.
Right.
And everybody is doing a fine job. I will not say that people are not doing is there, and we have to appreciate, in spite of, I can see certain points which need to be rectified or should be dealt with, but I must start by appreciating that everybody is doing their own bit in education.
Right.
Having said that, I'll say that online learning is not a replacement of face-to-face. Right. So, say in higher education, we are seeing that people are, or even in school education, teachers are just logging in and going into the lecture mode. What happened to all that conversation, discussions, and things? That lecture was not the best mode of teaching.
Right.
So
before you go further, Dr. Saab, I would like to emphasize for my viewers. Dr. Nisha has right now emphasized on the fact that online education is not a replacement of face-to-face education, and it is not about switching on a technology and just starting to provide that lecture to the students. It's about interaction and other processes. So, Dr. Nisha, we would like to know more about how and what methods that teachers can use to make it effective.
Right, Amitabh, as I said, that this mode has got its own strengths and limitations. The online education, whenever we try to design an online course, is that we need to have a designing, like instructional design. There's a discipline, or we can sub-discipline, or there's an area of specialization which is called instructional design. And as the name says, that you are designing the instruction which has to be given through the online course.
Right.
So because students are away, because you are not always able to connect to the learner, you design it in the way that is as per you can use the maximum of the things. So for example, you make these small videos, you put it on your course or on your LMS, and then once it is the learner has seen it, then let them come for a discussion. What is happening today is everybody is going into a synchronous mode.
Right.
Face to face.
Right.
So teachers are log in at 10 o'clock and we'll have a session from 10 to 10:30. Obviously, rest of the so everybody doesn't have that bandwidth. What about the internet penetration? What of the people who do not have it? In a family of 4, they are sharing the bandwidth.
Right.
In a family of 4, they may be having 2 or 3 electronic gadgets. And everybody, the parents have to work from home. The children have to attend this. So there's a lot of pressure. So in a world filled of anxiety, we are again feeling another point of anxiety. Right. So coming back to the instructional designing, so we design it as per the level of the learner or as per the subject area.
Right.
What concept, what content can be best delivered through a video,
Right.
what can be best delivered through an audio, what can be best delivered through a text, and we sort of make a sort of arrangement in an organization, making a balance of the asynchronous discussions, asynchronous communication with the synchronous communication. I'll try to distinguish between the asynchronous and synchronous here. When we are at the same time facing each other and communicating, it is called a synchronous. Right. So it could be visual, right, or it could be the chat also.
Okay.
Right. So it's a chat like we are answering at the same time, almost synchronous.
Right.
Asynchronous is when Amitabh ji has time at 10 o'clock after finishing all his responsibilities, he will come and read it, and Nisha has to finish her work. She has to get up early. She wakes up at 6 o'clock and comes up. So synchronous, the time is not synchronized. This is this needs less of bandwidth.
Absolutely.
The server will not have a load of all the people. The bandwidth will not have a load of all the people. So there's all, whenever we design an online program, we keep a balance of all these things. So if we are doing it for Pan India and the rural area, we'll think of more of asynchronous activities.
Okay.
Plus, if the videos are there, they should be small. They should be the size should be web friendly.
Dr. Nisha, before you elaborate on it for emphasis and for the benefit of the viewers, I would like to emphasize, friends, Dr. Nisha has brought in a very important element for us to understand, is synchronous and asynchronous activities, which is very important for us to understand. And we need to see that when and where we need to use synchronous activities and asynchronous activities because we have to be pragmatic about the bandwidth, shared bandwidth. We need to be pragmatic about the technology resources available to the user at home, and of course the time sharing factors have to be kept in mind. And so Nisha ji has been elaborating on what kind of, in what context asynchronous and synchronous activities can be further planned and used. Nisha ji, can you please elaborate on that?
And then similarly, since we are at a distance and even in online, we have to give these small exercises. Like we have these MCQs, and there are many softwares available, many ways available to give these small self-motivating exercises, self-assessing exercises. So that is how we design an online course whenever we go for designing an online course. Right. And as you said, right, online education has been quite therefore higher education. Like I did these courses and online way, and then from 2012 the MOOC was there. But there was a study in 2016 or 17, the KPMG, the big corporate, and Google in India, they came together to do a assessment as to what will be the online education scenario in India in another 5 years.
So this study was done in the year 2016-17. Okay.
So they were predicting it from 2017 that the kind of business will be, they're corporate, so they're also looking at it from the business point of view.
Model, right. Yeah.
They found it was around 250 million USD dollar in 2017, and it will go up to 2021 to around 2000 USD million dollars. So kind of business they forecasted was there, but that was when the COVID was nowhere in the picture.
That's very intriguing and interesting that even before the lockdown and COVID in the year 2017, KPMG, one of the renowned survey groups, have made a survey and made a prediction that there's going to be a major boost in 2021 in online education. I think COVID is going to enhance it further because everyone is getting accustomed to online process.
And they predicted that it will be in 5 major areas. One will be higher education. Everybody that is expected also. The other is online certification, examination. We see that NTA, National Testing Agency, is making its presence day by day. It is for the NEET, for JEE, for UGC competitive examinations, even for SWAYAM, we have these examinations through NTA only.
Right.
But for the younger, and they said also for the language learning. Say if I want to learn Gujarati or Marathi, I don't have to go to a person. I just go and download a software or go to online and YouTube and learn Marathi and surprise my Marathi friend, Maharashtrian friend that yes, I can talk to you.
Right.
So that was, and then casual learning for any other learning, like say how to make, say, a cake, how to stitch a mask. This is full of, the YouTube is full of how to make a mask.
Absolutely.
Right from the political figures to the neighbor next door. Everybody has a presence on YouTube. But another area which I'm interested in sharing with you is, they said that it will have a market presence on primary and secondary supplemental education.
What do you mean by primary and secondary supplemental education?
That's what I'm saying, that even for primary and secondary, they said that it will be an addition to the school education.
Okay.
Supplementary, like you have coaching. Children come at 3 o'clock from school, they gobble their food, and then they go for their coaching classes.
Right.
Whether it's Akash or any other, that's Akash is a brand name, but to the neighbor next door who takes these coaching and the tutoring. So that is a supplement to the normal school education. So they said that online education will have a large presence in this supplemental domain. And that is how you see that the apps have come. Byju is the most popular app. And loved also by the children. Children and the parents alike. Loved by children because it is like a lot of graphics and easy and everything. Parents, because it removes the danger of going to a tutor and other logistics.
Yeah, they get a lot of support in such applications by various providers.
Right. And that is why you have seen that it is Meka, and then Vedantu is another app which is coming. These are the big names which are coming in the advertisement. But then people are coming in this field, and that is what they predicted. The KPMG and the Google, they both predicted this. Right. And we can see that also. So coming back to the point is that primary and secondary level education is where we have to be very cautious of shifting to online education. It is for every level. But this is the age which is we say that the foundation age.
Absolutely.
Right. And if you look at the guidelines of WHO, which has given the guidelines of, say, physical activity for the children, they also say that, though specifically they don't mention too much about the screen time, but for young toddlers, for children up to 3 to 5 years, they say that screen time should, if you are able to avoid the screen time, avoid. And if you really have to do it, then it should be less than 1 hour. Though at every stage we see that it is exceeded. You see in every household, children don't have food. Mothers or the caregiver, they have these cartoons on, and with the cartoon, children eat very nicely.
They do.
Right. And if you have got some very important assignment, I'll switch on my cartoon. Please look at the cartoon, and then I'm free to do my work. Right. So I'm not saying that that's wrong, but then the thing is that should be minimized, especially at the younger age. There's a reason to it. Why? Because they are at the development stage. There has to be a sort of coordination between all your the cognitive, the affective, and your psychomotor.
Right.
The way you think, the way you feel, and the way you act.
Right.
So that is a building stage.
Right.
So if there is a screen time, the screen time becomes a passive time. He or she is only imbibing in passive. So that is supposed to be not good for their growth as such. So that maybe that is the reason why they say that. And another is like for children, we say that physical activity should be a must. So if you really want to do it, then give in small doses and then supervised. Parents, teachers have to be there. Some kind of an activity. If a cartoon or a small video is there on a dancing, let the child dance in adult supervision.
Right.
Not like the way we are talking, or there's a video, the teacher is talking and the child is listening.
Right.
That is the way, especially at the primary, the small level.
Primary and pre-primary level. Now this, Nisha ji, you have pointed out some very, very important factors for people and the teachers and the educators to ponder upon. And you pointed out about, even the WHO says that the screen time has to be minimum. If it has to be any, it shouldn't be more than an hour, but that is generally what is exceeding in most of the cases. You talked about parents getting into the habit of making the child sit in front of a cartoon, and in fact, though you said that you don't say that is wrong, but as a psychologist we say it is wrong. What we always tell parents as a psychologist, that you should not make the child dependent on the screen time. There can be other ways, otherwise you are forming a habit which will become a problem in due course of time. So it should not become, occasionally if it is done, it is fine, but it should not become a method for them, because that it's not just about the screen time, it is also about habit and the addiction that is gradually going to get formed in the child for getting hooked onto the screen. Dr. Nisha, with your permission, I would like to encourage our audience. Friends, we have Dr. Nisha with us, sharing us very, very deep insights, which is going to help us refine our online education process that we all are compelled to provide in the education space and the education sphere right now. And so feel free to put in your queries and concerns. We will try to respond to most of them within the sphere of this interaction. We have here already a lot of people coming in, appreciating, acknowledging, and we also have some questions and queries started pouring in. We have here Harsha, Chelani, Rima, Gyanendra, Rekha, Arun, Karuna, a lot of people. We have a couple of, I have also received from Mr. Kapil Agarwal, who's put in a query here, on our email. He is a managing trustee of a school in Kanpur, the Jain International School, and Jain Word in Mati, and very involved management in the education of students. So Mr. Kapil Agarwal here has put a question that we are experiencing students at pre-primary level showing symptoms of attention deficit while taking these classes. What are the techniques to overcome this challenge? And why I'm taking up this question right here, because you have talked about the screen time and WHO guideline, and he, from his experience, is also raising the concern that children who are very small, if they are losing their attention, they are having that attention deficit if they are put in to screen and regular classes. So what is your take and advice on that?
Amitabh, I think the solution is written there only, that children, they have this less attention span.
Right.
Right. So if it's a cartoon, there's a lot of movement
on
the screen, and there's a lot of flashing cartoon and something just tried to make humorous. Whereas whenever you're teaching, it is done in a serious and sincere manner, because as adults we want to convey that education is a very serious business. So please take it seriously. The moment you say seriously, it becomes a kind of like, okay, fine, I'll have to sit and do it. And for children, sitting for a longer time is a difficult proposition. Being a psychologist, you realize you must be like you already know that for children to sit for a longer time is difficult. Even from personal experiences, I remember I used to love reading novels. And both the fiction and non-fiction. But the moment it was a novel prescribed in a course, like Far From the Maddening Crowd or Charles Dickens, I didn't like reading it, honestly. So there's a lot of, I don't know, somehow we get it from the, I will not say it's ingrained or something, because I don't believe into that. But it gets affected from the moment. If it's like, for example, I'll give you an example. Like, the father is very fond of, say, kadhi as Indian food, right? And the mother is not fond of it, but she makes it for the father. But whenever she makes it with a, aaj fir kadhi banegi.
Okay.
What will happen? The child will learn that, okay, kadhi is not something to be liked, because he or she relates more to the mother at that particular point of time. Right. So similarly, class hai, bed job, padna hai, you have to pay attention to it. The moment you say that you have to pay attention, it becomes a task to be, your anxiety level, your stress level shoots up a little bit.
One feels bounded and confined for those few minutes.
Right. And the other thing is, as a if you for a small children you have to use it, please there should be some kind of a supervision, like your mother, father, caregiver, dadi, nani, whosoever is available, elder sister, brother, and they should be able to say at a certain point of time, bring back their attention, like look at it, what they are saying.
Right.
So from the virtual world, the attention comes to the real world.
Right.
Otherwise, there's a virtual world which is real at that particular like it is happening at some other place, but for them it is not in their context, not in their environment.
Right.
So slowly it takes a backseat.
Absolutely.
And that is why it is easier that the mother is going to the kitchen, the father is doing this. Can I do this? Can I play this? Rather than looking at the screen and studying.
Right.
So you have to find ways. There's no one way of doing it. But then, yes, this is very true. This Agarwal ji has said that there's a attention deficit. And the more is the screen time, the more we see this anxiety and this stress level. And there will be some kind of it's like they get addicted to it. And you will get to know that they're addicted the moment they will get anxious and stressful.
And to add to what you are saying, Dr. Nisha, to Kapilji's query, taking cue from what you shared a few minutes back, that I think we also need to, as an educator, as an institution, plan synchronous and asynchronous activity, and I feel that probably from lower to higher, the ratio can begin from 80-20. I think 20% synchronous and 80% asynchronous for the small child. A lot of there can be a lot of assignments given that the child can do with parents, record it and send to the teacher. Along with parent activity as a part of asynchronous assignment can be given, and then maybe a bit of occasional synchronous face-to-face interaction can be planned, so that child feels excited seeing the face of the teacher and interaction with them, and that too along with the parental supervision. And maybe as because this is the big question, that how much is too much in terms of screen time to be given to the children. And I think gradually, with every passing age and stage of class, this ratio from 20 to 80 can gradually be changed, and as the age and the stage of the child changes, I think that's what can be looked into. So that combination may also work for the children.
Right. See, if the teachers are taking classes now, the school level especially, then what they can do is they can give some kind of activity. Say, read chapter 1, try to do this, and then like when they meet, then there can be interaction and discussion rather than teacher just teaching a new topic. So that kind of, one has to find, as we say, that teaching itself is an art.
Right.
So the way you interact, the way you design, the way you plan out everything is like your own, and that is why you have these good teachers which you remember till your like you are in your profession. Or there are not so good teachers, I will not say bad teachers, but they are not so good teachers who are easily forgotten. So we all aim for these being a good teachers. Another thing I read a question was how to reach the economically weaker section, especially in these times.
As we have this question from Charu Mani, that please guide us for involving EWS students in the schools in the given current context.
But right in this time, when even when if I look at the statistics world across, it is by International Telecommunication Union, ITU, which says that at present in 2019, 53.6% of the world had access to internet.
Right.
So what about the other section? Very rightly raised by Charuji on about the EVS. But in these times, you have to find ways. Like, and I will say, and my due credit to these Jio and Reliance, they have made these mobile packages competitive.
Right.
Right. And then even and like available at a small price.
Right.
And then you have these smartphones also, which are one can afford it. So even people who are coming to good schools, even they are from EWS category, they are still at a level where they can afford these things.
Right.
Right. So plan your things so that they don't have a load of bandwidth. As I said, you get 1 GB data per day, and that
Right.
is to be shared by 4 members in the family. So
Right.
try to give small videos. Try to give offline work if you are considering EWS category.
Okay.
Plus, if by any chance you have these NGOs who can come in and
Right.
share under their corporate, under their some kind of
CSR, yeah.
activities, or corporate who can come under CSR activities, that can be encouraged. In fact, if you remember, some years back, there was a lot of talk about this Akash tablet.
Right.
That was an affordable 3,000 rupees or 2,000 rupees tablet that was supposed to be given to the students with lot of material. In fact, it was even at IGNOU and many other levels, it was like thought that material will be given and the learner will be, and the cost will be borne by the government.
Right.
So that is there. But at the same time, let us not go, we have to be a little more cautious. So we should not let the economically weaker section feel deprived.
Right. Right.
Right. So this is a balanced approach. Like, don't go overboard, and at the same time, the thing is, you should not neglect the people who have it. So it's like in a classroom, you are catering to a some kind of a level of ability, like somebody who's very good and somebody who's less good, but you pitch you're at an average level. But similarly, with these kind of teaching and learning, you should also see that how to balance it. Another thing I would like to share here is, when we talked about Swayam courses, is that it is
Right.
like appreciable initiative by Government of India. What they said, that all the programs which are being made by Swayam, they should be released through Swayam Prabha. And now,
Okay.
what is Swayam Prabha? This is a bouquet of 32 channels, DTH channels,
Okay.
right? That has been allotted to various Indian institution, to relay these videos through a television set-top box. And the
Okay.
set-top box is only 1,500 rupees,
Right.
right? And then it is free to air. You
Right.
need to have a television and this DD set-top box. It's called the
Right.
DD set-top box, and through that you have access to all the videos which are made in Swayam.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
And the learners who want to say, they don't have the time to go to say Akash, or they are the students of Akash or any other, or people who want to study their own in this COVID times, there are channels, IIT PAL channels.
Okay.
Right, this is like, they are the channels, there are 4 channels looked after by the IITs of Delhi. There
Okay.
you have the videos which help the learners to prepare for the JEE and the NEET exams.
Right.
It is they are the most viewed channels, right?
Okay.
And these channels are freely available on YouTube. But why I'm not saying YouTube? Because then again, the question of bandwidth.
The bandwidth isn't there. Right.
Right. So in TV, you have this 1,500 rupees one-time investment, then it's free to air channels. You go and see. Similarly, for you have IGNOU has got 4 channels. We have
Okay.
for arts and humanities. Then we have Gyan Darshan channel. Similarly, UGC has these channels. So all these channels, good faculty across India, universities who are making videos and the courses for Swayam, which is
Right.
given as a package in the course, they are being relayed on Swayam Prabha.
Okay.
So one thing is benefited. So that is basically catering to the place like where the bandwidth is not there, the rural area and the economically weaker section.
That's such a beautiful resource. I think even not just the EWS segment, but even everyone can benefit from these resources that Swayam Prabha is providing through various channels as well as on YouTube. Dr. Nisha, there are a lot of questions coming in. I think people are now tickled in their intuitiveness. And I think you said about yourself that you were very fond of asking a lot of questions to learn. I think right now our audience is very intrigued with your deliberation and wanting to learn a lot from you. I'll take a few questions one by one so that you can respond to them from our audience. There is one question, though you've touched upon, but I would still like to take it up for greater emphasis. Deepa Singh asks, good evening, ma'am and sir. Is there any limit of screen time for senior school students? Again, the question is related to how much is too much, but specifically directed to senior students of a school level.
Look, there's not a prescribed kind of a screen time for them, but generally that is the researchers say that like I got a lot of quotes as studied about Nielsen. He gave that around it is like 53 hours per week kind of a thing, and then most of the adults and these seniors, the teenagers, they go up to 11 hours in a day. So what is happening is that is too much of time. Because what is happening, you have only those 24 hours. So from some activity, you're reducing your sleep, that will affect your work. You're reducing your physical activity, that will affect your like your body and the overall well-being. You're cutting your time with your parents, interacting relationship, friends, parents, going out. So you have those. So one, you have to reduce it. The other thing is, which I believe in, is that you must practice what you preach. Right. So if we are at the phone and the computer all the time, right? I'm not saying gossiping. You are sharing information. You are trying to maintain a distance relationship with your family members and friends. But if the child is looking that you are all the time on the phone and curtailing, then it becomes, this is a time of democracy. The children expect democracy to be more like exercise at home than the country.
Absolutely.
So you have to see that you are curtailing that. In fact, there was a lot of jokes on the WhatsApp that children are saying that I wish I was a mobile. My parents are more into the mobile than they pay attention to me. Right. So these are not out of blue air, like blue sky. You see it in the society happening. And then children get addicted, and then once you let them get addicted, then once you get addicted to alcohol, de-addiction is a very painful process also. So why to get addicted?
The addiction, you spend too much time with anything, you're vulnerable to addiction.
Addictions. Even in relationships also.
Absolutely.
If you break a friendship or you break your affair and something, it is as painful.
Absolutely.
Right. So then it becomes a love affair with your mobile or the electronic gadgets. And there are parameters to it. Like if you start feeling anxiety, if you start feeling stressful, the moment your internet is not working, the moment your mobile is not working, or somebody looking at the mobile again and again, whether friend has seen the message or not, all these are indicators that you are getting addicted, and it is for both adults, teenagers, and the children, everybody.
So, to Deepa Singh's query, what I would emphasize from what you shared is there is no such prescription technically available, but then it is researchers and surveys are revealing that kids are spending, and in a grown-up years, in teenage years, a lot of time on the screen, as Dr. Nisha just now shared. I would like to add to it is probably for the teenage grown-up children, they already have been spending, as the context in reference is, I think they may get a little more constructive, positive screen time if the schools are giving them assignments and classes there. So not to worry so much about it, and there is no defined quantum fix for a particular age group. Yes,
one thing I want to mention here is that in this world in this is race for digital and everything, what we do is we ask the learners to make a PPT and submit as an assignment.
Right.
Like a project and submit as a soft copy. Let them do the project on a paper and scan it and then send it if you want it to be digitalized.
Right.
So then that will be the time away from screen.
Absolutely.
So every teacher, every educationist has to, people in the education have to find ways of making it less. But yes, the system, this mode has got its own strengths. We should try to capture them. And it is
Doctor, I'll have to take your permission. It's already 5. We didn't realize the time. But then there are some very relevant questions. If it is okay with you, we would stretch it by a few minutes to entertain 1 or 2 more questions in our interaction. I hope that will be okay with you.
Yeah, fine.
Right. There is a next question, which is by Rajni Raman. Some parents and students don't take online classes seriously. How can we make them feel it's important? Dr. I'll just pitch into this and mention it to Rajni Raman that as Dr. Saab has already pointed out, if we combine synchronous and asynchronous activity and our instructional design in a more planned way, and also make an, she shared a little while earlier about self-assessment questionnaires and all that she has shared, that so that the children keep on assessing the benefits of it, some assessment pattern to be integrated. They need to know they will be scored on what they are learning. Maybe these are the kind of few of the things you can integrate to get them a little more serious about the whole process, and give them a little bit of a breathing space to begin with, because they are also new to the process. Yes, Dr. Sir.
There are certain free softwares available, like you have this Kahoot is there, then Socrative is there. So then Quizzes is there. So these are, you can use as a free version, teachers.
I think they instant quizzes
and then make small questions. There are MCQs available there, like small quizzes available on the system. Otherwise, you make your own quiz and give that as a part of your teaching and learning. Fantastic. And then it is as a game. You can make teams, or you can let them have a game like a quiz, and then there's a competition also. Like the first 5 will be displayed.
Right. In fact, what you shared, Dr. I had a very interesting personal experience being a Rotarian as well myself. We had a gentleman come, we have this WASH project, that water and hand sanitization, that our Rotary Club of Belur has taken up in a big way. So in one of the training orientation program for, we had a gentleman from UNICEF has come, and he started that direct face-to-face training using Kahoot as a software and quiz on water and hand sanitization. We all in our mobile sitting there in front were responding to his questions. I think it's a wonderful suggestion. A lot of these softwares can be used to make the training and the classes, online classes, interesting as well as accessible also.
Right.
So we take Sheetal Shinde's query. Good afternoon, ma'am, sir. Ma'am, nowadays TGT students are taking online school classes. They're also playing games on mobile. How to keep them away from mobile? Please guide.
As I said, practice what you preach.
Right.
And the other thing is, like, you have to be a little more strict.
Right.
I will not say much, but then parenting is something which has become a little more lenient over the period of time.
Right.
The moment, since both the parents are working, less of time to children, people have become as smaller families, nuclear families. So we have become more lenient, and it is like trying to pacify them, trying to please the children. So children have to be dealt in a way children should be dealt, strict as well as pleasant and soft. So when you don't have to give mobile, be strict. What happens is, you say that like child asks mobile de do, we'll say नहीं abhi नहीं देना, नहीं मिलेगा. फिर वो 4 बार पूछेगा, वो जमीन पे लौट जाएगा, वो आपके गेस्ट के सामने शोर मचाने लग जाएगा, वो आपके किसी को फोन कर देगा या कहीं से भी, like somehow he or she will make it for you to give it. So please don't give in. You are a psychologist, you know that this is the way. If you give in after say 4 and 5 requests, that means you are encouraging a behavior that every time he has to ask 4 and 5 times, and then he'll get it. And that becomes one of the ways of getting the mobile. So that's what I said. Either don't say no.
Right.
You straight, if you have said no, stick to it.
Right. Absolutely.
So, and then they 10 times, okay, mobile is allowed only for half an hour. Okay, you take mobile, but it is only for half an hour. Before 10th, you will not be given a mobile.
Right.
However affluent you are, you belong to the best of the influential families, but giving a mobile to the child is not a very, it should not be there.
Right.
Or decide an age as to say 9th. So they are going for their tuitions and all. Don't let them take it to their schools.
Right.
It is only during the tuition. So you have to make guidelines for home, right? And you also have to make them, okay, we are not only that it is only for you, it is also for us. You are not supposed to bring mobile to your dining table.
Absolutely.
You're not supposed to watch the TV and play on the mobile, because this multitasking is happening all the time.
It's happening all the time. Absolutely.
So all these, there's a certain, because that's what they say, that for making others to be disciplined, you have to be disciplined yourself.
Absolutely. So, you have to lead by example.
That is like a same story that we tell children not to lie, and koi bahar uncle aaye na bol hum ghar pe nahi hai.
Absolutely. We are living an exemplifying paradox.
Yes.
Absolutely. Nisha ji, we have another query. Are there any resources available for rural? You've already responded that Swayamprabha DTH channel, as well as on YouTube.
There are other initiatives also. Please go to MHRD site, the MHRD site, Ministry of Human and Resource Development, and you have many digital initiatives like Swayam and Swayamprabha I told. Then there are NDL library. You have got a lot of books there, free books available for every course, even for the school level and the higher education. So these are the initiatives. You have virtual labs.
Right.
You have e-yantra, which is basically for engineering students. But these initiatives, please regularly visit the site. There are many initiatives.
You said virtual labs are also available on the government platform, so they can simulate, chemistry lab for students, or schools can integrate.
Yes, some of the things are available. Another thing which I want to share is there's a concept called Open Educational Resources, OER. Right? Okay. OER, Open Education Resources, and it's not an Indian concept. It is like world over. People are releasing their teaching learning resources as OER. So anybody can go and use it. It is not a copyrighted material.
Beautiful.
Right? So teachers can go, use it, share it, distribute it, do whatever they want, mix it.
Right.
But whenever if they want to use it as a part of their teaching and learning, they just have to acknowledge.
Right.
Like suppose I as Nisha Singh have made a very good resource on cell biology.
Okay.
And I have released it as an OER.
Okay.
Anybody, Amitabh ji, anybody across India, across the world can go and use it. The only condition is that please use that this is a resource by Nisha. Acknowledgement, which we
acknowledgement.
You do acknowledgement. You don't say that you have made it.
Right. Absolutely. Right.
So that is a thing, that it is basically, what is copyright? Copyright is that the material is owned by me, and I need to give permission to each and everyone to use it, or I make money out of it. I sell it, right? But this is built on copyright, that I have given it free to the community to use it the way they want for knowledge sharing and knowledge advancement. But the only condition is acknowledge. Absolutely. And that is very basic.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I'll take one last question and I won't entertain any more. Otherwise, we'll go endlessly on and on. We have this query, though more or less it has been touched upon, but still I'm taking it up because online education is something intriguing for people to understand. And you are an encyclopedia on that. I can say after listening to you for about an hour or a little more than that. So it is Rekha Singh says, good evening, sir, ma'am. For the primary section, if we give the students 3 slots with an interval of half to 1 hour, will be fine or not?
This is up to which level are you talking about?
Up to class 5, say class 1 to 5 or class 2 to 5, primary level.
Yes, you take small, like say 20 minutes, 25 minutes. Then you give them a gap. Say, give an activity. Like you have told an activity how to make a plane, how to make a box. Right. So ask them to make a box in that the intervening 1 hour or day, and then play with the box or design some activity, and then come back again. And ask them to show the box. Because unless you ask everybody to show the box, they will know teacher to puchega hi nahi.
Right.
At the same time, for younger children, it is better if it is supervised. Like there will be somebody with them. So this kind of, it is like a balance between online and physical activity, especially this COVID-19 times.
Absolutely.
Be innovative be innovative. You say that you write a paragraph about, you write 5 lines about from where did your parents do education from.
Absolutely.
Right? So you are also their language skills you're developing. Right? You're interacting with their parents.
Right.
So many things in that single activity, in that gap, you are trying to achieve.
Absolutely.
So just which came to my mind, but then as a teacher, when
that's a wonderful example, very pragmatic as well. And Dr. Nisha, I would, this one statement I'm somehow making after every episode of Ed Talks with Amitabh is all good things have to come to an end, because समय कब खत्म हो जाता है पता ही नहीं चलता. Today we overshot it by about 10 to 12 odd minutes so far. So you have been very engrossing, very enriching, and you have given very, very relevant, candid processes, examples, softwares, technologies available, resources available. I think viewers who were present in this interaction while we were online, live, or even those who are going to view us later on in the recorded format here on Facebook or YouTube, everyone is going to benefit. I am very sure that this particular episode is going to become a resource and a reference for a lot of educators in times to come during this lockdown period to enhance their efficiency. So thank you so much for being part of our show, Ed Talks with Amitabh at the School Times. You have been amazing.
Thank you for inviting, and be safe, be home, and try to learn as you go ahead.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nisha, for being with us. Thank you. Friends, abhi tak aap dekh rahe the Dr. Nisha, who came across to me as an encyclopedia with a rich and a vast experience on online education, the method, the process, the rationale, the experience, the pragmatism. We have experienced all in last 1 hour, 10 minutes of our interaction with. I hope many of your queries have been answered, and many of you have got a lot of directions to enhance your efficiency and work further on the effort that you are putting in as an educator, as a teacher, and as a school manager. Friends, इसी कड़ी में हमारे साथ हमारे अगले एपिसोड में, that is going to be on Monday 11th. बहुत सारे इस समय हम अभी बीच में थोड़ा सा बोलते बोलते गले में खराशी आई और मैंने खांसा और फिर मैंने पानी पिया. And I always get an opportunity to say every cough is not COVID. So किसी को भी खांसी आ जाए तो डरने की जरूरत नहीं है. लेकिन as a psychologist, as a counselor, my team at Human Learning Systems India have been getting a lot of queries, and we are giving a lot of appointment for counseling, to online counseling to anxious parents for their children, their health. There are a lot of concerns which are coming up, and we are doing whatever we can do in our best of the capacities, helping them out. If anyone wants any help, we will be available. You can always log into our website. You can also call up at 983-1134-906. We will be willing to help you in whatever capacities that we can. But in order to help you with the medical side and the children, all of you are watching, let all the parents be aware that on 11th, Monday, we in Ed Talks with Amitabh are going to answer a few questions, because we are getting specially a pediatrician on board on the show, so that आपके सवाल जो जहन में आते हैं कि कैसे हम डायग्नोज करें जो नॉर्मल फ्लू लाइक सिम्टम है बच्चे में, कि वो कोरोना तो नहीं है, हमारी एंजाइटीज को मेडिकली हम कैसे सॉर्ट आउट करें, ऐसे तमाम क्वेश्चनों के आंसर्स हम देंगे. On Monday 11th, we are going to have Dr. Vijay Kejriwal as our guest on Ed Talks with Amitabh. You are going to meet on 11th a psychologist with a pediatrician. Keep watching Ed Talks with Amitabh on the School Times. Till then, till next episode on 11, 4 to 5 p.m. sharp. मिलते हैं अगले एपिसोड।